All right, day 456 of going live. If you've been following what we've been doing, we've been adding to our property. Let me turn on my chat, excuse me. We've been adding to our comparable sales list every single day. And we initially started with all the properties that were sold by bedroom count, by zip code, same sort of typical property information, such as your square foot, year built, sold price, price per square foot, sold date, lot size, whether they have a garage, basement, HOA in this area, what division or subdivision are they in, and any sort of comments about the property. And as we move forward, we started tracking all the properties that were sold in the last 3 months. And now we're tracking properties that are coming onto the market. Because here's why, right? If you are pursuing the BRRRR strategy, right, that stands for buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat. Your goal is to get back out as much of your invested capital as possible so that you can rinse and repeat. What does that mean? Let's say you buy a property for $20,000 and you spend $50,000 renovating that property. Well, now all of a sudden, you are potentially going to make the property worth $100,000. So that allows you to go get a debt service coverage ratio loan for about 70% of the home's value. So you can get back out $70,000 if the home is worth $100,000 in the form of loan proceeds. With those loan proceeds, you can now use that property, use the same loan proceeds, same $70,000, and rinse and repeat. Because now you can take the same $70,000, go buy another property, and do it all over again. Because what's the alternative? The alternative is you save up money from your full-time job, do a 20% down payment, hope that the property cash flows, and you save up money again for the next property. And that's a much slower process, right? It takes a long time to save up 20% for another property. So all these factors matter, but what's most critical data point? It's your after repair value, your ARV. What is the estimate value of your home after you renovate the property? Because that will determine how much money you're able to get back out from the property. So for today, what we've been looking at is we're looking at properties that are 3-bedroom plus that have been on the market, single family homes for less than 3 days. And this one property caught my eye. This is 2068 Sunrise Road, Birmingham, Alabama, 35214. So I'm gonna go to my 35214 section. I'm gonna plug this property in here, and I'm gonna start writing down all the details here. This is 3-bed, 1-bath, 1575 square foot, and that's a pretty good square footage size. And this property was built in 1956, 1956.35 acres. This was listed 21 hours ago, so listed December 28, listed 12/28, 24. This property is being listed for $139,900. That seems really high to me for a 3-bedroom property. And that's why I wanted to make sure I track this property, because if this 3-bedroom sells for $89 a square foot, I mean, that gives me a significant room to go pursue another property that are 3-bedroom plus, right? So there's no garage here. Is there a basement? New water heater. No basement. No garage, no basement, no HOA. Let's see what neighborhood this is in. And I just get the neighborhood just by clicking on the neighborhood and zooming out. And this is right in between Westwood and Docena. In between Westwood and Docena. And this allows me to just figure out, hey, if I get another property in the zip code, what part of the zip code is it actually near? That allows me to narrow in whether or not that's going to be a good comp. Because what's the ideal comp, right? Ideal comp is if this lot, this home was the same square footage, same lot size, same finishes, same year built, blah, 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 as the home next to it. But that's rarely the case, right? And as you go out further and further, if you go across man-made borders such as this Route 78 or natural borders such as these rivers and creeks, I mean, you're in completely different neighborhoods. That's why it's so important for you to figure out, hey, where is my property located? So I can figure out whether this is a reasonable comp. And as you get further and further away from that comp, what does it look like? So now I want to understand what the condition home is. I mean, this looks like hardwood floors. It's not super modern, but all rent ready kitchen. Average kitchen, average. No flooring work, maybe just paint. Okay. No painting needed. Flooring looks to be refinished. Average kitchen and bathrooms that are rent ready. Okay, great. So that gives me a general idea of what that condition of the home looks like for $89 a square foot. If I underwrite this property, right? And this is why we're looking at this property, because 139,900, that's pretty high for a 3-bedroom home. And what you want to understand is that what's happening with a 30-year mortgage interest rates, because that's going to dramatically affect your ability to buy the home. And we're going to cover this in using real numbers, right? So if you look at the 10-year treasury yield, it's gone as high as 4.6, 4.7, 4.8 in the last 12 months. 4.99 was the highest one, probably on one day. And it's gone as low as 3.6. The crazy part is you will understand that the 30-year mortgage rate is really driven by two things. One is obviously the interest rate of this, but then the second factor is the spread between the 10-year yield and the 30-year mortgage interest rates, which historically has been about 1.5% to 2%, but it's gone as high as 3%. So that's why you saw interest rates crossing 8% almost at one point in time. So when it goes that high, it dramatically affects the affordability of your home. So it drives down your listing or your sold prices, right? So as it's going up right now, you want to figure out, hey, if I am pursuing a BRRRR strategy right now, might I be at risk of the property not appraising for what is because of what's happening with interest rates and what our property is being sold for in the last 3 months because of how high interest has gone up in just the last 3 months, right? It's gone up almost a full percentage point. So let's underwrite this deal as is. So this property is 139,900. Let's plug that in B4. And then for our renovations, we're going to put in just some work to refinish the floors. So I'm going to my rehab calculator spreadsheet. I got $1,500 for the roof, just in case there's any issues there. $500 for the landscaping. And I'm going to still want to repaint the entire place. So it's 1,500 square feet. And then for refinishing, I'll probably refinish about half the flooring, 1,500 divided by 2. All right, 1,575. I'm just doing rough, easy numbers here at $40 a square foot. I'll probably replace one of the toilets with higher pressure flush toilets because that's rent ready. And I don't want to have any clogged toilet calls. So it gives me a total rehab about 12 grand. I'm going to delete this multiplied by 3 in this formula because that wasn't part of the original formula. I was just doing a scenario yesterday where I was tripling the rehab, right? Now, for my rehab, for my rent amount, I'm going to go to affordablehousing.com. I'm going to go to the owner section. I'm going to go to the market rent estimator, plug in the address, the bedroom count, and I can see right here that the average rent for 3 bedrooms is $1,139 for 25 units within a 2.15 mile radius. For my taxes, I'm gonna get it right from the revenue calculator. This says 53 right here, 53. And my homeowner insurance is 108. So I'm gonna do equals 108 times 1.2. So I'm adding a 20% premium here. And that's because I'm assuming an insurance company is going to view a investment property as a high risk asset. So that's why they're adding a 20% premium right here. All right. Then I'm setting aside 10% of my rent every single month for maintenance, because this is the part where you're going to see, well, what is actually going on here, right? You have to understand that at some point your roof, your HVAC, your water heater is going to get replaced. Even if it's a brand new water heater right now, that's probably going to last you 10, 15, 20 years. So you don't set aside some money every single month right now, you will be grossly overestimating your profitability because you underestimated your expenses. Don't be that person. All right. Make sure you set aside money every single month, or you're going to learn the hard way that at some point you're going to get a big expense and you're going to realize that you didn't make any money at all. All right. Then you got 10% for property management and you got 5% for your vacancy expenses. That gives you about $42 right there. So now, for a cash and cash return number, let's assume we're going to put 25% down on this property in F19. So our down payment is going to equals to my B4, my asking price, minus times my down payment percentage of F19. That equals 35 grand roughly. So my finance amount is going to be equals to my B4 minus my down payment amount, and that's going to be 105. So that's going to give me 7.5% interest rate right here that I'm going to plug in for now. And that's going to give me, assuming $3,500 of closing costs, almost 12 grand of renovations. If I rent this property out as a 3-bedroom for $1,139, I'll be negative cash flow $62 a month. It's a negative 1.5% return. Assuming I bought this property for $139,900 with a $12,000 rehab, just rounding here, with 25% down and 7.5% mortgage interest rate. Now, if I lower my asking price, right? Because for every property, there should be a price or a set of terms that we're making a deal. I lowered 100 grand. That's still not going to get me to a target return of 10%. I'm not saying 10% is a magical number, but this is not investment advice. I'm not soliciting any investments on this call. Just showing you how to adjust the levers on these inputs so you can figure out what's actually deal. So if I go to 76 grand, assuming everything else stays constant with 12 grand in rehab, 1139 rent, that will give me a 10% return. So I can buy this property for 76 grand, but does that mean that the owner will go for that? Not necessarily, but at least now you know what is considered a deal, so you can take emotions out of the deal and understand why are you pursuing this property in the first place? Is this property worth you sending people out to get pictures, to get you a bid for a rehab, right? Because if it's not worth your time, why would you waste a good contractor's time going out there to give you a bid for a property that you weren't going to buy anyways? Okay. I mean, some people will just buy $1 million properties in Southern California and break even in cash flow because they don't care about making $200 a month. If they're making 5% of cash flow, 5% appreciation on $1 million property, that's where you make the majority of your capital, right? All right. So now, if you have this, what you're going to have to do is let's say your interest rates drop from 7.5% to 6%. This is going to be good. See what happened here? It went just bumped up to 12% on the cash and cash return number. So now you might be willing to pay 86 grand for the property, full 10 grand higher, because that's still 9.6% return. That rounds up to 10 roughly, assuming everything else stays constant, because now you're cash flowing $285 a month, even though you're paying $86,000 for the property with a $12,000 rehab. It's 25% down, but a 6% interest rate. And that's how you take emotions out of the deal. All right. Hope this was helpful for everybody. If you guys want a copy of the spreadsheet, go to affordablehousing.io, go to the Get Deal Analysis tool, plug in your name, your email, your phone number. That's the fastest for you to get a copy of the spreadsheet. I didn't make the spreadsheet from scratch. I got it from a few other folks. I modified it, tweeted so that I can analyze deals as fast as possible. But my hope is this: you copy my homework. You analyze the same deal I analyzed today. This property's on the market. And you put it on your own YouTube channel, because at some point someone's going to ask you, hey, why do you think this is a deal? And you can say, I know this is a deal because I've been looking at properties for the past 456 days. Might that give you some confidence that you know what you're doing? I certainly hope so. All right. I hope you all have an amazing Sunday. Spend some quality time with your family and friends today, because that's what life is all about. I'll see you all tomorrow for day 457. Have a good one, everybody. Yeah, you like